Next speaker is Clare McNeil, who's the director of IPPR, who will be talking about how we measure wide economic value of open workspace.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. It's great to be here. So I'm Clare McNeil, Associate Director of IPPR. We're an independent think tank, and we've been commissioned by the GLA to do this research on open workspaces. So what I want to cover this morning is briefly our approach to the research, our emerging thinking on a common set of measures of value for open workspaces, and finally our next steps on the work and how you can all be involved, we hope. So firstly, on our programme of work, the overall purpose of our research is to better understand and evidence the benefits of open workspace, and really to build an argument for the role the public sector should have in supporting it. Our overarching research questions are focused on both understanding the benefits of open workspaces and determining their value. So along the bottom here, I won't go into too much detail, but you can see the different components to the research we're doing. So literature reviews, case studies, interviews with developers, a survey of users, which I'll come on to, and probably most importantly, an assessment matrix so that we can really, sort of all of us can use that matrix to assess value. Just moving on to the next slide. So we recently published this report, Start Me Up. I think there are copies available here for everyone. So this was really an introductory report to the sector and the challenges that it faces. And we profiled the sector in a bit of detail, but it's really aimed at a sort of generalist audience for those people that don't understand what open workspaces are. And we're thinking particularly about the mayoral election and trying to raise the profile of the sector. So we set out three key challenges for open workspaces in this paper. Firstly, the reforms to permitted development rights, which are going to increase price pressures, as we know, while demand is only going up. So I think 1.3 million square metres of conversions have already been approved. Secondly, the risk this creates in terms of driving out enterprises and the workers that are supported by open workspaces. And thirdly, the need for housing, as Sara said, to be accompanied by jobs, by growth, and spaces that make neighbourhoods attractive spaces to live. So those are the three challenges that we focused on. So developing common measures of value. As I said, what we want to do is to better understand and evidence the benefits of the sector. And developing a common set of measures is one way to help us do that. So at the moment, impact assessment is variable. So some open workspaces collect lots of data, particularly if they are publicly funded or if they have social impact goals, but many don't, or they collect different types of data. So we're looking to identify a common set of measures of value for open workspaces across all different types of workspaces. And obviously this is a very diverse sector. So we're looking at tech accelerators to artist studios across the range. So the main outcome of the research, as I say, will be an assessment matrix. And that will help us assess the value of the sector as a whole, but also the relative value of different open workspaces. So we're sort of halfway through the research at the moment, but our emerging thinking in terms of where value can commonly be found for open workspaces we're thinking about sort of three groups. So users, London in terms of its economy and local communities, and developers. So some of the benefits are about economic impact. So, for example, we can see here for users absorbing startup risks, the costs of those, or creating new employment opportunities, so job creation. Some benefits will be more about social impact, so improving users' networks or sustaining the cultural and charity sectors. And some will be more about the community impact, so making London a more enjoyable and attractive place to live, and supporting the regeneration of hard-to-let areas. So in our work, we're looking at all of those different types of value. And ultimately, as I say, we'll be using those to develop a matrix that can be used to assess value. So this is the bit where you can help. We're going to be launching the first survey that will look at the full range of open workspaces in London, including Arthur Studios. I think it's probably one of the most ambitious surveys in that respect. It will be sent to over 300 open workspaces. We need people who run businesses that work in open workspaces to complete this survey, as well as sole traders. And really, for us, this will be vital in helping us understand the types of impacts that open workspaces are already using, and it will allow us to test some of those that we're thinking about. So here are some of the questions that we'll ask in the survey. I won't go through those, but it will be online next Wednesday, so I'd really encourage any of you that have an interest to either complete it yourselves or to forward it so that we can get as many responses as possible. So finally, we'll be publishing a final report in early summer, which will be setting out, as I say, when and how policymakers should intervene, because we do want to try and look at the case for public investment in open workspaces. And at the moment, we'll be arguing, our sort of hypothesis is that we'll be arguing that investment should be made when either the market isn't sustaining open workspaces that have significant social value, or when there are significant economic spillovers for London in terms of its communities and local economies. It's worth saying that both of the mayoral candidates have said that they want to have said that they want to support affordable workspaces, and both have visited open workspaces on the campaign trail. So our report will hopefully help to establish open workspaces as a sort of distinctive sector, and make the case for support, as well as ideas for how the next mayor can ensure that we have enough of these spaces and those of the right type. And Sarah's already touched on some ideas, but briefly just to go through the sorts of issues and ideas that we'll be looking at. So using public assets to offer open workspaces, and that's something that at least one of the mayoral candidates has already talked about. Using mayoral funds to support the most valuable spaces and gaps in the market. So there was the recent £20 million investment in creative industries. Is there scope to be looking more broadly there at community or socially focused workspaces? And finally, using planning policy to encourage developers to incorporate open workspaces in their developments. So those are the sorts of ideas that we'll be looking at and developing over the next few months. So that's just briefly our approach, our emerging thinking, and our plans for the final report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.